Here we go. It's another random sofa in the middle of absolute nowhere. We're at the airport. Yes, guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome back to the George Benson Football Channel. I think that intro was a little bit all over the place. That's not what I normally say, but we're on the road. We're on the way to Atlanta tomorrow for Chelsea's first game of the Club World Cup. And of course, no matter what happens at the moment, we are aiming for 7 a.m. every single day in you guys' subscription feed. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel so that you don't miss any of the latest Chelsea news updates. And importantly, my opinions on the updates. And as always, I love to see your comments in the comments section down below. So we have got now 2 days to go, not only until Chelsea's first match of the Club World Cup, but 2 days until the transfer window is reopening. And considering Chelsea, the business that we actually got done, Dario Isugo, we got Andre Santos coming back, we have got Liam Delap coming through, there is still so much ambiguity when it comes to how is Chelsea's transfer window going to look. There are some stories in this video today that I think tell a bigger picture about where Chelsea will stand, where Chelsea lie in the transfer market. If you saw yesterday's video, there was only one news video because there wasn't a reason for me to upload a second one. I don't want to just keep repeating myself over and over again. But today we have got some updates on various strikers. We've got some updates on some different players that we've not spoken about here really on GBFC. But the first one is regarding Victor Gyökeres, because he's a name that's kind of been on the back burner. Are Chelsea interested? Probably not. We got Liam Delap as the number 9. Victor Gyökeres is probably bracketed as one of those top strikers for top money, but the release clause this summer, we were always under the impression that he'd be leaving Sporting Lisbon for way lower than the 100 million euros. But this is the latest. Sporting have given Gyökeres the assurance that he will be allowed to leave in the summer for 60 to 70 million euros, as exclusively revealed in October 2024, and now confirmed by his agent Hassan Çetinçaya. So this is a weird one, because we've also been looking at Gyökeres this summer and being like, why isn't there any concrete proposals on the table for the Swedish striker? He had an incredible season at Sporting Lisbon, and I do wonder if there is a bit of miscommunication here with the whole narrative, because if Sporting have said to him, you can leave for 60 million euros, but that release clause was 100, he's relying on a gentleman's agreement as opposed to what's actually written in black ink. So for that reason, I think all footballers that rely on these gentleman's agreements, they're clutching at straws. They're hoping for something, which just get it in a flipping contract, mate. Do you know what I mean? So with Victor Gyökeres, Man United are interested. Arsenal interested. Chelsea, it's always been a name that has been kind of floated around, but we've heard absolutely nothing concrete. And I think when you've got other clubs that are moving more directly, that are more concerned about actually going there and getting him, I think the boat has absolutely sailed. And I don't think Chelsea will be in at all this summer for Victor Gyökeres. Let's move now into the next story. And I think a lot of you are going to like this one, because I know for a fact Antonio Nusa, having listened to what you guys say in the comments, watching the live streams and stuff, a lot of you like this guy. This is the latest regarding him. Chelsea have added 20-year-old winger Antonio Nusa to their shortlist, who could be available for around 45 million euros. I think Antonio Nusa, again, 20 years old. I've said this already on GBFC. There are certain positions where I think buying a slightly older, mid-20s to late 20s player is a better option than buying a youngster. Whereas on the wing, you want explosiveness, you want energy, you want speed, you want pace, you want the ability to take players on. So when you're talking about the age or caliber of a winger that you want to get, you want to be going for those young players. You want to be going for those players that have still got all of those years of energy in them. Antonio Nusa is a really exciting prospect. With Jamie Gittens, this is all going to be about what happens here with Dortmund. If Gittens has some miraculously brilliant tournament with Dortmund, maybe he changes his mind. He accepted a 7-year deal with Chelsea and he wanted to go. There's videos of him speeding away from the Dortmund training ground, but fundamentally, the key thing, he's not a Chelsea player, he's still at Borussia Dortmund. So, what this is probably going to make Chelsea do is take a little step back in the window, take a little look at alternative options, and that is why we are now seeing players like Antonio Nusa linked with Chelsea. Let's move now into the next story, another centre-back that we've not really spoken too much about on this channel. And I'll say this, the centre-back position for Chelsea this summer is an important one. I don't think, we're going to talk about Chalobah a little later in this video, but I don't think Chelsea have got enough depth and reliability in the centre-back position. So, Thomas Araujo is Chelsea's priority centre-back target this summer. This is coming from a Portuguese outlet, Bola, and Thomas Araujo of Benfica is a really solid centre-half. The rumoured figure is around 60 to 70 million euros, which is roughly the same as what Chelsea are being quoted from the likes of Crystal Palace for a Mark Guehi. Now, Chelsea haven't really gone with any kind of concrete approach for any centre-back yet in the market. Thomas Araujo of Benfica is a really good option. And I think Chelsea are being patient with the centre-back market because there's a lot of clubs right now that are sticking that Club World Cup tax on players. And because there are so many clubs with so many good reasons to actually operate early, because the market these days, it's all about opportunities. You've not got too many clubs anymore that have just got endless budgets that will wait until the end of August or wait until the season has begun to see what's going on. Teams want to get their business done early. We've seen it with Chelsea. We're seeing it now with Man City, with Liverpool. They understand the value of getting deals done as soon as possible so that if you've got a Club World Cup or you've got a pre-season, the manager knows what he's got to work with and they're already working on plans and strategies for the season moving forward. So let's see if anything develops in the next few days when the window reopens again on Monday for Thomas Araujo. Let's move now on to the latest here regarding Trevor Chalobah. This is from Matt Law. The situation is different. Whereas in the last 2 summers, he has definitely been offered to clubs, told to find a new club. That hasn't happened this summer. He's not been put on any lists. He's not being touted around. A bit like with Petrovic, they are not going to give Chalobah any playing guarantees. Chalobah does definitely want to be confident he's going to play a lot because of the World Cup and because he feels he deserves it. So for Trev, he just played his first game for England. This is going to be a huge thing for players this summer. With the World Cup coming up, not just Chelsea's England players, but all players that have got an idea of playing for the World Cup nations next summer, that is going to be hugely on so many players' minds, which is why when you've got the likes of Esteval coming in on the right wing, he's going to want to go to his first World Cup with Brazil. You've got likes of Noni Madueke, who is not a guaranteed starter for England, but he'll absolutely, having got man of the match in the last game for us, he will want to be Thomas Tuchel's right winger. So with Trevor Chalobah, I absolutely believe that Trev has shown enough over the years that he needs to at least, as of right now, be in that conversation to be one of those defenders on the plane for England to come to the US, Mexico and Canada next summer for the World Cup, because Trev deserves it. He's versatile, he's always reliable, always puts in 110%. And all in all, yes, sometimes he looks a little bit like he switches off. But there's so many defenders out there that do that. Premium elite defenders, they're few and far between. Even Virgil van Dijk sometimes goes through those moments in a game. But for Trev, to see him being back right now, at least the fact we flipping saw him on the plane, this is a good start from Chelsea. I think there's only so many times, right, as fans, I was saying it at the start of this window, if we can't see, after all of this time, the value that Trevor Chalobah brings to the squad, and not just the flipping monetary value, then we understand exactly what's going on here. Trev showed when he came back in January, the results in terms of the defence were night and day. From the amount of chances we were giving away to the amount of goals we conceded. And then Trev comes back in, and I think as much as he was still kind of in and out the team, we saw Tosin rotated, Colwill's form towards the end of the season got so much better, And that's what you get when you've got continuity. When you've got players that are playing together week in, week out, that speak the same language, that understand one another, then you get more consistency. And that is exactly what Trev brings to this team. It's not just about what he does, it's also about how he elevates those around him. And I think with Colwill, you can absolutely say that having Trev around or in the same team as him certainly benefited him towards the end of the season. So if Trev stays, I am delighted. The next story, Chelsea target Jorrel Hato. Ajax is home for me. This is quote. I just feel at home here. I mean, if we all flipping believe that, wouldn't we? Then the flipping transfer window would be an absolute fugazi, a facade. Jorrel Hato probably loves it in Amsterdam. I've been there a couple of times. Don't remember what happened, some of them, but I do know that Amsterdam's a lovely place. His head's going to be turned. He's going to be open to the move. So I wouldn't buy into this one too much. But again, Chelsea tentative in the market. We're not just aggressively going out there and being like, right, you're the guy, let's bring you in. You can see that we're moving a little bit differently. And as much as I think a lot of it is we're just not willing to pay the prices for certain players, which might see us come short, I'd also like to think that when it comes to like your 19, 20-year-olds, we're not just throwing stupid money because we've done that in the past. We're not going to get ransacked by selling clubs this summer. And I do rate that from the Chelsea board. But let's see if we actually do go any further for Jorrel Hato. Speaking of centre-backs, Chelsea are aiming to sign Crystal Palace star Mark Guehi for a cut price fee. I think the later you go into this transfer window, the cheaper deals you're going to get, particularly when it comes to some of these Premier League centre-back options. Right now, we're seeing 60 million for Crystal Palace to sell Mark Guehi. We're seeing and hearing 70, 75 million for Everton to sell Jared Branthwaite. As the transfer window goes on, I think Chelsea will get better prices for those centre-backs. When we look at Mamadou Sarr, who's just come in, the 19-year-old Frenchman from Strasbourg, he's coming in. He's been given the number, 19 shirt. He's going to get minutes in this Club World Cup. Let's take a look at some of these players during this tournament before we start rushing into the market. And look, I'm not sitting here and going against the grain of everything I've said over the course of the last few months on this channel. We still need some leadership. We still need some experience in this squad. 100% all over the field. It would be beneficial for Chelsea. But in the same breath, I don't want to see us going out there and overpaying for players because we're Chelsea. We're seeing it in the market right now a lot. That I would say a lot of the negotiations where prices are being given to Chelsea, like what? Because we've spent all of the money that we've spent, you think your guy is now worth 3 or 4 times what he's actually worth. Nah. And I respect the club for not going out there and overpaying for certain players who are just not worth the prices they're being quoted at. So let's see what Chelsea look and do. So, in yesterday's video, we spoke about Nick Williams. And after we spoke about him, he went and scored a hat-trick for the Germany under-21s. The 6'6" striker. I made a short about it, posted it to Instagram, posted it to TikTok and whatnot. And again, I'll say this is not the level of striker that I wanted Chelsea to be going for this summer, because I see goalkeeper, striker. These are positions where if you've got an elite proven goal scorer, a slightly older player, and I want to say that when I say elite, I mean a player that is a big personality, that's a leader in the dressing room and has been scoring multiple goals per season consistently. Nick Williams isn't consistently delivering season after season. He's 23 years old, still relatively unproven, and like Liam Delap, who scored 12 for a relegated Ipswich, one-man army at times, you can kind of see through that a little bit, but he scored 12 goals for Stuttgart. So we're not talking here about 22 goals, 32 goals, it's 12. And as much as I look at what he can do, right, and obviously when you hear, oh, 6'6" striker, and look at the size of him, he's nearly 2 meters tall, I'm like, well, go on then, show me what he can do. So I've been looking at Nick Williams, and I'm not going to lie, and again, it seems like an easy cop-out piece of analysis, right? But he's really good with the ball at his feet. It's actually deceiving compared to what you would expect for someone of that size. But for me, when I look at him, it's the decision making. It's how quickly he can actually decide to either turn, put a little flick round the defender, keep the ball, play it off to someone else. He seems like a really intelligent striker. So let's see what happens with this one with Chelsea, because at the moment, the only real talk about this is coming out of Germany. So maybe this is one of those where Chelsea are like doing a little bit of underground work. Because it isn't a big name, the top journalists aren't bothering to talk about it, because I'll be completely honest with you, right? I'd never even heard of Nick Williams until about 3 days ago. And then since then, I've watched hours of him. So I kind of get a better understanding. And I look at him and I'm like, he's actually a really good player. But again, I think there is still potential for Chelsea to be looking at someone else. And look, this kind of pains me to talk about this, but it's all relevant. At the moment, when we're talking about Chelsea transfers, there are so many players that we've spoken about that we're now seeing other clubs in the market for, such as, you guessed it, our man on this channel, Victor Osimhen. Liverpool are now supposedly talking to him. I mean, if ever you wanted to see a club that was so serious about winning the Champions League now, retaining a Premier League title, I don't want to just sit here comparing it to Chelsea, because look, we've decided to go and do it our way. But if Liverpool go and win back-to-back Premier Leagues and run away with it, because they buy Florian Wirtz, they buy Gyökeres, Frimpong, and if they were to go and get an Osimhen too, we're asking for it. We should be in for these players. We just should, if we want to be competing. Man United have reopened talks with Victor Osimhen over a potential transfer in the summer transfer window. The Nigerian international is demanding a salary of 12 million euros from his potential new club. I mean, look, this is the reality here that we're dealing with. 12 million a year is what? $250,000 a week? Chelsea aren't going to pay that. The maximum that we're paying players is what, 200 grand, and that's Reece James that signed that contract before we even had this wage structure, I think, at the club. So when it comes to this dream of having an Osimhen, having an older striker, someone with that experience that we can be like, yeah, this guy leads the line and everyone learns from him, I think it's too late. I don't think the club are going to be going down this path. I think this summer, Liam Delap being given the number 9, I'm buzzing for him. I'm not going to lie. I have to caveat, whenever we talk about strikers here on GBFC, I am so excited for Liam Delap. I think he's going to be an absolute stay at Chelsea. I think he's going to hit the ground running. I'm buzzing to watch him on Monday. But seeing Man United, now a team that finished 15th, lost that Europa League final so feebly to flipping Spurs, they might even be losing Mbeumo to Tottenham now that Mbeumo might go there because Thomas Frank is there. Even they've got the pull. But Man United are still in contention to sign these players. And look, with all of these players that we're talking about here, even the older ones, even the big names, the Osimhens, the Gyökeres, whatever, there isn't a guarantee that these players score 25 goals a season, win you a Premier League title. But for me, it's everything else that comes around it. Will Chelsea go in there? I don't think so. It is still a pipe dream because you've got people in the media that will still talk about it. Do I think that Osimhen, if Chelsea did offer him the money, would he choose Chelsea? I'd say probably yes. But we're not going to offer him the money. And that is the reality of what we're dealing with here. Nicholas Jackson and Liam Delap, if these guys do start firing, that will be the strike partnership this season. And we might have a good Club World Cup with these players. But then again, it might come to November, December, and we're in the same flipping boat. And I won't be surprised. It won't surprise me whatsoever. Because what you need in a squad, I think, is a balance. You need a mixture of leaders in the team that when people are struggling, when we're not experienced enough to get through difficult moments, we do it. I think we saw that this squad can do it at the end of the season. But if you've got those players already there, it just does make it seamless. It makes it easier to do so. But I will say, going into this Club World Cup, the togetherness that we're seeing with the squad come the end of the season just gone, I'm really excited for next season. I think we will continue to grow. It's just, is there going to be enough quality in that team? The next piece of news, Nico Williams' agent, Felix Tainter, travelled to Barcelona and held an hour-and-a-half meeting with Deco. Now, the latest on Nico Williams is that because Barcelona are knocking on the door, he isn't asking for as much money. Barcelona, bigger club than Athletic Bilbao. It's the truth. Champions League football. So, Chelsea here, like, what are we doing? We heard, what was it, a week ago? Chelsea and Arsenal willing to do crazy financial things to sign Nico Williams. So where are we then? Bayern Munich are there. Barcelona are there. Where are Chelsea? We're not going to be interested to pay anywhere near those wages. I've given my thoughts on that plenty already. Going to wrap up this Chelsea news video here. Sorry that it's a little bit all over the place today. We are on the way to Atlanta tomorrow. I'm absolutely buzzing for it. The Chelsea LAFC preview will be out on Sunday. And in terms of the upload schedule throughout the tournament, we're still going to aim every day for the 7 a.m. news video. And then we're going to have 6 things, previews. We're going to have an extra match review, maybe with some like different cool content, stuff that we wouldn't normally have. Can't tell you too much about that now. And the match vlogs are returning. And I want to say this here at the end of the video. If you are based or live in Philadelphia and you know how to film with an iPhone, I'm looking for someone to join me at the 2 Chelsea Club World Cup games in Philadelphia to help me make the best match vlog that we possibly can. You'll be going to the game with me. The tickets, I'll cover them, booze or whatever, if you want beers and stuff at the game, I've got you. I can't afford to pay, I'll be completely honest. I can't afford to pay someone to do it, but it's a cool opportunity if you guys want to help. I need one person, and you just need to know what you're doing with a camera and all of that stuff, and you need to already be there. Just thought I'd put that out there at the end of this video because the games are on the 20th and 24th of June. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Come on, you Blues.